Ted Bundy, the most brutal serial rapist and killer in the United States. Ted Bundy is considered one of the most notorious criminals of the late 20th century. He confessed to kidnapping, raping, and murdering 30 women across 7 states in the 1970s. A distorted childhood and first love failure. Theodore Robert, Ted, Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, USA. He never knew who his father was. After birth, his mother took him to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to live with his grandparents. To hide the truth, his grandparents told everyone that Ted was their adopted son. Throughout his childhood, Ted believed his grandparents were his real parents, while his biological mother was his sister. It wasn't until much later that he discovered the truth. At the age of 4, Ted and his mother moved to Washington, where he changed his name to Theodore Robert Nelson. His mother later married a cook named Johnny Culpepper Bundy, and from then on, he became known as Ted Bundy. Ted was a quiet and shy child who was often the target of excessive teasing from his peers. However, he was intelligent and performed well in school. In 1965, Ted graduated from high school and earned a scholarship to Puget Sound University. In 1966, he transferred to the University of Washington. Despite working part-time jobs to pay for tuition, he consistently maintained high academic rankings. During this time, he fell in love with a beautiful, wealthy girl from California named Stephanie Brooks. She became his first love and an ideal figure in his mind. However, after dating for some time, Ted faced heartbreak when Stephanie decided to end their relationship. She loved him but did not see him as a suitable husband. Devastated, Ted dropped out of school. This breakup left a deep emotional scar on him, which later contributed to his transformation into a terrifying serial killer. During this period of emotional turmoil, Ted also discovered another shocking truth. The woman he thought was his sister was actually his biological mother. And his parents were actually his grandparents. This revelation drastically changed his personality. He went from being shy to bold and extremely cold-hearted. Handsome, intelligent, and charming, Bundy had a promising future ahead of him. He was on his way to earning a psychology degree and preparing to enroll in law school. However, these very traits helped him easily lure his victims. Over 4 years, Bundy kidnapped, tortured, and murdered at least 20 women, and many more may have suffered horrific fates at his hands. Ted Bundy's name became synonymous with the worst kind of serial killer, a heartless demon. Key crimes and events. January 4, 1974. Bundy attacks a University of Washington student. While attending law school at Puget Sound University, Bundy brutally assaulted University of Washington student Karen Sparks in her Seattle home. Sparks survived but suffered permanent brain damage. February 1, 1974. Bundy commits his first murder. Linda Ann Healy, another university student, disappeared from her home in the early morning. Bloodstains were found on her pillow. A year later, her remains were discovered along with those of other women at Taylor Mountain, near Seattle. July 14, 1974. Bundy kills 2 victims in one day. College students Janice Ott and Denise Mashind vanished from Lake Sammamish State Park near Seattle. Witnesses recalled a young man named Ted, with one arm in a sling, asking women for help carrying a boat. His description matched Bundy's appearance. Many of his victims shared a striking similarity: long hair parted in the middle. August 30, 1974. Bundy moves to Utah. Leaving his job at the Emergency Services Department in Olympia, Washington, Bundy moved to Salt Lake City to continue his law studies at the University of Utah. November 8, 1974. Bundy strikes again. Posing as a police officer in Murray, Utah, Bundy lured 18-year-old Carol DeRanch from a shopping mall into his Volkswagen Beetle. He handcuffed her, but she managed to escape. Later that same day, he kidnapped 17-year-old Deborah Kent. Investigators later found a key in a school parking lot that fit the handcuffs used on DeRanch. January 12, 1975. A murder in Colorado. Karen Campbell, a 23-year-old nurse, disappeared from her hotel in Snowmass, Colorado, after leaving the lobby to get a magazine. Her body was found weeks later in a snowbank outside the resort. August 16, 1975. Bundy arrested. Sergeant Bob Hayward of the Utah Highway Patrol stopped a suspicious Volkswagen Beetle outside a house in Granger, Utah. He arrested the driver after finding a ski mask, crowbar, handcuffs, and an ice pick inside the vehicle. However, there was not enough evidence to keep Bundy in custody, and he was soon released. October 2, 1975. Bundy is identified by witnesses. Despite earlier failed attempts by the police, DeRanch and 2 other women identified Bundy as their attacker. He was arrested and charged with multiple attempted kidnappings. March 1, 1976. Bundy convicted of kidnapping. After a 5-day trial, Bundy was convicted of aggravated kidnapping and sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison. October 21, 1976. Bundy charged with first-degree murder. Investigators link Bundy to the murder of Karen Campbell in January 1975 through her hair found in his car, his gas card usage near her disappearance, and witness testimony. He was extradited to Aspen, Colorado, for trial in early 1977. June 7, 1977. Bundy escapes from the library. While granted access to the law library at the Pitkin County Courthouse in Aspen, Bundy jumped from a second-floor window and fled into the mountains. After a 6-day manhunt, he was caught trying to steal a car. December 30, 1977. Bundy escapes again. Transferred to a facility in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, Bundy lost significant weight and managed to crawl through a ceiling vent. He stole a prison official's clothing and car, fleeing to northern Florida. January 15, 1978. Bundy kills 2 students at Florida State University. Breaking into the Chi Omega sorority house at FSU around 3 a.m. Bundy strangled Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy to death, while brutally attacking Kathy Kleiner and Karen Chandler before fleeing. He later assaulted another student, Cheryl Thomas. The survivors were unable to identify their attacker. February 9, 1978. Bundy kills a 12-year-old girl. Kimberly Leach, a middle school student, disappeared in broad daylight from her school in Lake City, Florida. At 12, she was significantly younger than Bundy's usual victims. Her body was found 2 months later beneath a shed. February 15, 1978. Bundy is captured for the final time. Pensacola police officer David Lee stopped a suspicious car at 1:30 a.m. and arrested Bundy after confirming the vehicle was stolen. January 24, 1989. Bundy is executed. At Florida State Prison, Bundy was strapped into the electric chair known as Old Sparky. Before his execution at 7:16 a.m., he told witnesses, "Give my love to my family and friends." About 200 people gathered outside the prison to celebrate his death.